Hi guys, this is Mary. You're watching Cards TV, and I don't think it's ever too early to start thinking about Halloween. It's one of my favorite times of year to make cards and little crafts for. And this is a little treat bag that I made. I've seen a lot of these little bagalopes, and I started thinking, why couldn't I make one and recycle some of these envelopes that we get in junk mail all the time? I know I'd shown you how to make an album out of them, but I thought, why couldn't I just take these and turn them into little treat bags? First of all, I used mini monograms to cut my scallops, and they're on page 129. That's the scallop circle right there that I used. I cut the black one at 3 inches and the orange and yellow pattern paper at 2.5 inches, and then I stamped this little pumpkin, and he says trick or treat, and colored him in with Prismacolor pencils, and I did ink around the edges, and I cut him out with my 1 3/4 inch circle punch and layered it all together, and this is on some foam tape on the front. Now, these envelopes that you get in junk mail come in all different sizes. They're different lengths, different widths. So your bags are going to be different sizes depending on your envelopes. This envelope, this is the other half of it, and it was 3 7/8, and I cut it in half, and it was 3 7/8 by 8.5. So I cut it in half at 4 1/4. And to get this edge on top, I used one of my favorite border punches, which is the Scallop, and I did go ahead and cut the top of it after I cut it off. So your finished bag will end up being 2 7/8 by 3.5. Now what you want to do is take your envelope and you want to go ahead and seal it up and measure and see how long it is, because you want to cut it in half. This one is 8 7/8, so you would cut it in half. This is the other half of the one I used for this bag, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this one. So this is cut in half. It's 4 1/4. And because I'm making a smaller bag, I'm going to do my score lines at 1/2 inch on all the closed sides. We're going to leave the top open. So I'm going to use my Martha Stewart scoreboard, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch along both sides and the bottom. Now, if you were using a bigger envelope, let's say you don't want to do a recycled bag, you want to do just a regular envelope and it's bigger, you will adjust the sides, your score lines on the sides. If you were going to do a bigger one, you might want to even score it at 1 inch. Once you get it scored, you're going to fold up all your score lines, both sides and the bottom. Do this side again. It's not wanting to fold in as nicely. Okay, you've got all your scores folded. Now, after you've folded up all your score lines, then you want to put your hand inside and start pushing on the bottom, and it will come out to these score lines that you put on the bottom. And you want to go ahead and just take your fingers and run around there, and then push the sides in a little, and you're going to come up with a little peak on either side. You want to try to keep your sides nice and smooth. It'll give you a little bit better bottom. There we have the 2 little peaks. And what we're going to do is lay these down, and we're going to get nice creases on them, because this is the bottom of our bag and we want it to sit flat. And then we're going to take some glue runner, and I don't want to do this on my scoreboard. Let me move it out of the way. And put on these little peaks. little points. And we're going to put our hand inside and fold these in. Don't think I got quite enough glue runner on there, but that's the general idea. And then you just take your hand, work with the sides. And here's your little bag. You can see I need to put some more glue on the bottom. And I'll do that, and I'll be right back and show you how to cover the front. Okay, here's my little bag. And we want to cover the front of it. This one does have some little lines on the side, but I think that's going to be okay. But what we want to do is measure the width, and that is right at 3 inches. And I've got some orange cardstock, so I'm going to cut that 3 inches wide, and we're not going to cut the length just yet. So we've got to measure first, and that is 3 3/4. But after we cut the top of our bag, it's not going to be 3 3/4. So let's go ahead and flatten the top of our bag and the sides, and we're going to go ahead and cut this top. We're going to line up our bag in the punch, and I know everybody does this differently, but I like to sit it down on a flat surface and line it up and then make my punches. Come on now, get in there. There we go. Okay. Now we have the top of our bag punched. And you can see why I didn't cut the orange piece off at the bottom yet. And we're going to go ahead and punch it also at the top. Now we'll measure and see what we need to cut this at. 3 1/2. So I'll go ahead and cut that. And see, it's all going to line up perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the front, and I'll be right back. I went ahead and finished up this little bag. I inked around the edges and added my scallops and my little trick-or-treat pumpkin circle in the center. And on this one I decided to put a handle, which I've attached with some brads on the side. Now if you don't want to use recycled envelopes and you might like a little bigger bag, you can get envelopes in other sizes. These are 5 3/4 by 8 3/4, and they're in colors, so you wouldn't have to attach the cardstock to the front. And these are nice heavy envelopes. Also, the A2 size or invitation size, 4 3/8 by 5 3/4, you can get it in colors also. You could make your own envelopes out of patterned paper and use that. But another idea for this is before you decorate it, stamp it with Happy Halloween or pumpkins or bats or spiders or whatever, so it looks like patterned paper, and then go ahead and add your scallops. And I haven't cut the top of this one, but if you don't have a border punch, you could also use some of these scissors that cut decorative edges. There's just so many things that you can do with this, but I like the idea of recycling the envelopes for just the little small ones, for the little trick-or-treaters when they come by. I can't wait. I love Halloween. It's such a fun time of year. It's not so hot, and the kids are so cute in their costumes. I just love it. But there you go, guys. Just a little idea for recycling, or just an idea for making a little gift bag. Thanks so much for coming by, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.